I'm just thinking what an incredible part the greater Houston area has played, as well as Texas, in lifting up great leaders like Congressman Cruz, Ken Paxton, and Congressman Poe, Ken Paxton, and Senator Cruz. You all have made such a big difference. You made a big difference in my life, and I'll be forever grateful. I want to talk about a little bit about the session. I mainly want to talk about saluting our police officers tonight. As we did in Conroe last night, we had about 1,000 people like tonight come out to honor law enforcement. And of course, we have the funeral for Darren Goforth tomorrow at Second Baptist. I expect it to be the biggest turnout in the history of Texas for a law enforcement officer. I expect 5,000 to 8,000 people to come out tomorrow. In terms of the session, some think it was the most productive, most successful, most conservative session ever. And if it was, and I'll let others judge, I give all the credit to our senators. Brandon Creighton from Montgomery County, this neck of the woods, did a great job. Paul Betancourt, Larry Taylor, put on the list of our senators from this area. But there were 9 new freshmen out of 31 senators. And people said, first of all, some people had set the bar very low for me. They said, what's going to happen when this grassroots conservative, Dan Patrick, becomes lieutenant governor? Well, we're going to govern as conservatives. That's what's going to happen. Yep. And they said, what's going to happen when he has 9 freshmen and 7 new chairmen? And what's going to happen when they change the rules? What kind of controversy is that going to cause with the other party? Well, we had a very productive session. We did what we said we were going to do. We have a lot more to do, but I give all the credit to the members of the Senate. A couple of highlights for you. One is, when I campaigned, as you know, I said I'm going to reduce the number of Democrat chairs. There were 6 before. This year there were only 2. We took away 4 chairs from Democrats. And why? Because we're the majority party. We have to govern like we won. That's why you go to the polls and work to elect people. It's not hardball, it's common sense. It's what the people just want. And then all of you who listen to me on the radio for years, how long have I been talking about changing the 21 vote rule? Forever. Since I started. And you know, on that first day when I was a rookie senator back in 2007, I tried to change that rule. It's the senators who vote for the rule, not the lieutenant governor. And I lost 30-1. I had great satisfaction this year when I stood up on the podium on the first day, and 19 or 20 Republicans and 1 Democrat voted to change the rules from 21 to 19. And that was the difference maker. And why was it so important? Because in the past, the most we ever had was 20 Republicans. If it took 21 votes to bring a bill to the floor, the Democrats had more veto power than the governor. They could stop any bill. This session, if you were a Republican and could get 18 others to agree with you, you knew your bill was going to get out. So we passed bills like American Law for American Courts that never passed. We passed bills like school choice that had never passed. We said we would increase funding for the border when I campaigned, and we increased it from $300 million to $800 million, more money than we've spent in the last several sessions, to have the best border security we can in the state of Texas, but we still need the federal government, and we need a president in 2017 who understands that national security starts with border security, and that starts here in Texas. But we did that. We cut the franchise tax 25%. We're going to get rid of the franchise tax. Cut it 25%, $2.5 billion. I've been fighting to reduce your property taxes. We took the first step. We increased homestead exemptions from $15,000 to $25,000. And when you vote on November 1, there are 7 constitutional props. I recommend all 7. But on Prop 1, besides increasing the homestead, we will put in our Constitution forever that you can never have a tax on your property when you sell it. 38 states have a tax on your house or your business property when you sell it. We will not be number 39. So and we just started on property tax rate. because that's going to be another key priority for us next session. And then transportation, we added $2.5 billion for roads, which are critical, without raising taxes, without raising fees, just period. We just said we're going to allocate $2.5 billion out of our budget as a priority, and we didn't borrow any money, and we didn't approve one toll road project, and our goal is to end toll roads in the future. Enough about the session. Let's talk about the issue at hand. I'm wearing this pin tonight that was given to me at Conroe First Baptist last night. You can't see it, it's the American flag with a blue line, to indicate a thin blue line. That is the difference between a civil society of law and order and total lawlessness and anarchy. Let me tell you something, folks. If this violence, and not just physical violence and death, but the verbal violence that I hear spewed on the internet and on 24/7 news doesn't stop, our country has no future. Because we will not get men and women to go into law enforcement. Their job is to protect us, and now they have to protect themselves. How can I look out for you if I'm looking out for me? We have to stand up. This must stop now, and we must stand with our law enforcement in a way we have never done before, and it has to be 24/7, 365 for the rest of our life, because evil and crime is not going away. I had a police officer, some of you know this gentleman, but he put on his Facebook post last night that he was filling up his patrol car with gas. And a citizen came up to him and said, "Don't worry, I'm watching your back." Is that good? You know, the only job in America where your job description says when you leave for work that morning or that afternoon or that evening shift, that if you must give your life to protect a citizen stranger who's in harm's way, you will give your life, is that of a man or woman who puts on the uniform and wears the badge. None of us, not in public office, none of us in our profession go to work every day and say, you know, if a neighbor gets in trouble, it's part of our duty to put our life on the line and get between the bullet that might strike them and let it strike us. Those, I'm talking about our law enforcement here, of course our U.S. military. But I'm talking on the domestic side, our law officers face that every day. Do you know in the month of August, 7 law enforcement officers were killed in America, and 3 already in September, and it's only the 3rd. They're under such pressure, such stress. They have to be perfect 24/7, 365 days a year for their entire 20-year career. And if they make a mistake, they may get sued, they may get fired, or they may get killed. We have to stop this rhetoric, this coarse rhetoric in America today towards each other that you see on social media that has so many wonderful things that allows us to congregate and get our word out and spread the message. But there's a lot of vile rhetoric on social media and on 24/7 news. And we have to hold the media responsible when they purposely put on people that are going to say things that are despicable just to drive the ratings. That has to end. Amen. And we have to speak out. We already are seeing fewer people going into the law enforcement profession. They don't go into it to get rich. Most of them work a second job to send their kids to college. These are extraordinary people, and it's a thin blue line. There's so few. If you really looked at the number of police officers on the beat at any given night, just ask your local sheriff's deputy how many square miles they're covering. Or your DPS state trooper, how many miles, or HPD, or your city police. Put yourself in their position at 2 o'clock in the morning when it's dark and you pull someone over, dodgy-looking automobile, 3, 4 people in the car, your closest backup's 20 minutes away, and everything you say and do is on that dash cam, which is fine, but you're going to be held accountable, and if you're just too careful, it could get you killed. The Louisiana trooper, 3 weeks ago, a drunk had gone into a ditch, and he went up and said, "I'm going to get a tow truck for you, just stay right there." The guy got out and killed him. So we're going to lift up law enforcement. I've had it with those who don't understand it's the bad guys who are the bad guys, not the good guys who wear the... What can you do? And we really need to start in schools. Let's bring respect back to our language. How about yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and it needs to be for our school teachers. It needs to be for each other. It needs to be for people who serve you. We have this attitude in America, we can confront our teachers and we can confront law enforcement. That has to end. Let's reduce that pressure on them that they already have. If you can get a chance to volunteer, if there are opportunities at your local police department, volunteer. If you can afford it, RAKs, Random Acts of Kindness, and you see someone in uniform having lunch or dinner, pick up their check or send them dessert, or just walk over to the table and say thank you for what you do. They've got to know it. They've got to know it. So, as we hit this tipping point in America, we in America who appreciate and respect what they do for us, we need to drown out the voice of hate. And we will do it. You all came here tonight to hear the next speaker. And speaking of the coarseness of language, I'll finish with this. John Boehner, at a fundraiser said, I'm glad Ted Cruz is running for president because we want to keep that jackass out of Washington. That's what he said. People walked down the fundraiser. And the only message I have for John Boehner is that person that you call jackass, the next time you see him, you may be calling him Mr. President. God bless you.